Welcome to Bible Stories Explained. Today, we're going to look at Genesis 37, the story of Joseph and his brothers. Imagine this. What if the people you trusted the most, your own family, turned against you? What if your brothers hated you so much that they wanted to kill you? That's not a movie plot. That's not a made-up story. That's the real story of Joseph in the Bible. A young man betrayed by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, sold like an object, left alone, rejected, and far from home. But here's the big question. Why did this happen? And more importantly, where was God in all of this? Today, we're going to dive deep into Genesis 37, the story of Joseph and his brothers, and we'll see how jealousy, betrayal, and suffering can actually become part of God's bigger plan. Joseph was the son of Jacob, also called Israel. Jacob had 12 sons, but Joseph was special. He was the favorite, and Jacob made no secret of it. He gave Joseph a special gift, a colorful robe. Some call it the coat of many colors. This robe was a symbol. It said, "Joseph is my chosen one. Joseph is above the rest." Now you can probably imagine what that did to the other brothers. They felt small, they felt overlooked, and anger began to grow in their hearts. Jealousy is dangerous, and in Joseph's family, it burned like fire. Joseph didn't make things easier. He had dreams, powerful dreams. One night he dreamed that he and his brothers were tying bundles of grain in the field. Then suddenly, their bundles bowed down to his. In another dream, the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowed down to him. When he shared these dreams, his brothers were furious. "So you think you're going to rule over us? You think we'll bow down to you?" The seed of hatred grew even stronger. They didn't just dislike Joseph anymore. They wanted him gone. One day, Jacob sent Joseph to check on his brothers who were watching the flocks. As Joseph walked toward them, the brothers saw him from a distance, and they said, "Here comes the dreamer. Let's kill him." Think about that, brothers, planning to kill their own blood. Reuben, the oldest, tried to stop them. He said, "Don't kill him, just throw him into this pit." He secretly planned to rescue Joseph later. But when Joseph arrived, the brothers ripped off his colorful robe and threw him into a dry pit, alone, scared. And then, something worse happened. They saw a group of traders traveling to Egypt. Judah, one of the brothers, said, "Why kill him? Let's sell him." And so they sold their own brother for 20 pieces of silver. When Reuben came back and saw Joseph was gone, he was heartbroken. But the brothers covered their crime. They dipped Joseph's robe in animal blood and took it back to their father. Jacob saw it and believed Joseph had been killed by wild animals. He wept so deeply, refusing to be comforted. This story feels dark. A young man betrayed, a father broken with grief, a family divided. But here's the truth. God was still working. Joseph's story did not end in that pit. It did not end when he was sold. This was the beginning of something bigger. God was moving Joseph to Egypt, not to destroy him, but to raise him up. One day, Joseph would become a leader in Egypt. One day, Joseph would save many lives, even the very brothers who betrayed him. But at this moment, in Genesis 37, all Joseph had was pain, and all Jacob had was loss. What can we learn from this? Jealousy destroys the brothers. Let jealousy take root, and it led them to betrayal. In our lives, jealousy can poison relationships and blind us to what's good. God's plan is bigger than our pain. Joseph didn't see the full picture yet, but God was using even betrayal to prepare the way for blessing. Sometimes, the hardest seasons of our lives are the very ones God uses for our future. Favor brings responsibility. Joseph was chosen, but he was not ready yet. God was shaping him, humbling him, preparing him for leadership. Sometimes, when God calls us, He first allows us to be tested. And finally, this story points us forward. Just as Joseph was betrayed for silver, Jesus too was betrayed for silver. Joseph suffered so that his family could be saved. Jesus suffered so that the whole world could be saved. Joseph's story is unsettling. It starts with betrayal and pain. But Genesis 37 reminds us that even when life feels unfair, God is not absent. He is writing a bigger story. A story of redemption, forgiveness, and hope. So here's my question for you. Have you ever felt betrayed? Have you ever been hurt by the people closest to you? Joseph's story shows us that God can take even betrayal and turn it into blessing. He can take your pit and use it as the pathway to your purpose. That's the hope of Joseph's story, and that's the hope we can hold on to today. Thanks for tuning in to Bible Stories Explained. If this story of Joseph and his brothers spoke to you, let me know in the comments. Have you ever had to forgive someone close to you, like Joseph later had to forgive his brothers? Don't forget to subscribe for more Bible stories made simple and clear. Until next time, remember, God is always working, even in the darkest chapters of our lives.